Hey guys, prediction markets. So prediction markets are kind of gambling in a sense. It's basically the idea that I create a smart contract. I put in, say, $100 worth of tokens or whatever, and then I make a prediction, and my prediction is something like Conor McGregor knocks out his next opponent in the UFC, and then I get two tokens out, and one of them is that's true. The other one is that ends up being false. So there's true and false. There's only two outcomes in this scenario, and I'm so confident he's gonna win. I keep my true ones, but I sell my false tokens to someone else. So I put in $100 and I sell my false tokens for $50. So I got $50 of that $100 back. And if it turns out that he does actually knock that guy out in his next fight, my true tokens basically represent 100% ownership of the pot that I put in, so the money that I put in the pot. So I get my $100 back. So now I've got $150. I've profited. On the other hand, the guy who bought my false tokens thinks that he's going to lose. So he bought those off me for $50, and in the event that he's right, he gets the $100 pot, and he's now got $150. So he made himself he got $100. He paid $50, so he made $50. And then obviously as things go on, maybe he decides he doesn't want to take this gamble anymore and he wants to sell them. But by that point, Conor McGregor's opponent has an injury or something like that, so the likelihood of Conor not winning is now diminished. So now the tokens he bought for $50 are now only worth $20 to the people who are willing to buy them. And so in that way, you can have a market for kind of like a stock market. You imagine the chart for a chart or something like that. You now have like prices that change over time for certain outcomes. And one of the interesting things to come from that is if enough people are contributing to this market, interested in it, it may actually be a way of weighing how certain people are of certain outcomes. And you might find that you're able to predict certain outcomes. Like, for example, if the market tells you that the true token in the scenario I described is worth $90 and the false token's only worth $10, that kind of says the market is 90% certain that Conor McGregor is going to knock out his next opponent. And then you can do all sorts of interesting things beyond that. Like you can combine multiple events. Like if he does knock out his opponent in his next fight, then he's going to be given equity in the UFC. For example, you could start making all kinds of predictions along those lines, and you could really predict very, very specific outcomes, and maybe the market could actually tell you what is the most likely outcome of a chain of events. You could maybe predict let's say if you could predict the outcome of global warming, for example, you could say something like if CO2 emissions are not decreased by whatever percentage by next year, then the seas will rise this much or something like that by whatever year, and the market could tell you how likely that is. That is cool stuff.